One. I am so excited to interview my next guest. It's the first time interviewing two people, husband and wife couple Tim and Tannis Roberts, all the way from Calgary, Canada. I was introduced to them from Deslin Hakias, who actually is posting your interview on our Healing with Aloha podcast. They have two daughters, and their family project, which I am so excited to hear more about, is the Echobox Memory Vault, which they founded. Tim, a little bit of background, sports lover, artist, musician. Tannis, very similar to my passions, reading. I would love to. So do you still work at it says works at a library? I
Yeah, I'm
thought
still
that'd be like so
part-time.
much fun to do, researching genealogy and music. And so I would love to hear more about how they developed and launched Echobox. It's a new way to preserve memories and life stories. And I am so honored to have you folks. Let's hear about this. How did it happen and share about why people really need this?
Well, we're honored to be here. Thank you very much, Karen. Yes, so I guess we first came about thinking up Echobox after seeing a YouTube video of a gentleman who had lost his wife, and then after treasuring the sound of his voice on an answering machine for so long, the service provider had to revamp their system, which meant everyone had to record a new answering machine message. And for this gentleman, it meant that he lost the sound of his wife's voice, which he treasured and used as kind of like grief support, that sort of thing. And so the video showed the service provider, all these technicians had to kind of dig up through these old files, and they found the kind of needle in the haystack, and they were able to return the recording to the older gentleman. This was in the UK, and yeah, so we saw the reaction on his face, and then the relief that he got, getting that recording back. And so it kind of just crossed our mind, I think, that well, first of all, that was really sweet and it meant a lot to him, but also technology nowadays is so capable of so many things, but it seems like one sort of aspect of humanity that seems to be getting left behind are all the seniors, as all the big names kind of put their focus towards the younger kids that are downloading new apps all the time and seeing what's the hottest new thing. We're kind of losing all these stories, and so that was kind of like the nucleus of the beginning of it. We kind of thought, well, maybe we could put an idea together of recording things for people.
Yeah, so first we had an idea, we called it Mother's Voice, and we were going to go into nursing homes and just record stories. And then we realized that was going to be a little bit onerous on us to actually try to capture all that. And then it was going to be a website, and then suddenly the app idea came up, and then it was, well, why just stories? Why not more than that? And it just evolved over a good 2-3 years before we actually developed.
That's right. And yeah, the Mother's Voice idea became, well, maybe fathers, and then, well, maybe just like everybody, it's like aunts, uncles, kids, everybody. And because at the end of the day, we all kind of want to have a quiet reflection of who we were, if we can do that. And so we just thought, well, with all the kind of troubles, especially lately, that platforms like Facebook and Instagram and the privacy issues, or the issues that younger kids get with whether they get 100 likes per post or whatever it is that they want to fulfill, that sort of need for likes or whatever it is. And we thought, well, maybe we could just take advertising out of it and all third-party garbage out of it, and not even have a news feed, so there's no way for sort of like misinformation to be carried. What if we just made quiet little realms that people can build for themselves, and then privately honor themselves and treasure the memory of family members and friends that have made their other Echo boxes. So with all these little details about life, they can revisit what they loved about it, like whether it was a favorite glass of wine or a handful of favorite songs, or you want to bake something from their recipe lists, or watch a favorite movie, or read some favorite quotes. It goes on and on, whatever they want to put in there, and it'll be there for their loved ones.
Can you share that? I'm not really familiar. You can share your memory vault with other family members?
Yeah, there's no pub. Sorry, I'm doing all the talking.
Oh,
I
that's
usually
fine.
do.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's pretty private, so you can invite somebody to view your box. They have to be an Echobox member as well, and you have an ID. It's not reciprocal, so I can invite you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I get to see yours. You have to invite me then for me to see that. And you can also host more than one Echobox on your device. So say if you're working in a care home or something, you can have a whole bunch of patients' Echoboxes on one device and then actually gift it to one of their family
Oh,
members.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can host multiple ones, and then you can actually transfer them from device to device. Of course, you have to okay it with the people that are involved in that, and we have that covered. But the idea kind of just really attracted recreational therapists, people that are in nursing homes and hospices, because it provides this connection between caregiver and patient that unless they're kind of writing things down, it's easy access to check out, well, does this person, oh, it looks like they don't like the smell of lavender, but they really like lasagna, or all these little details that might really mean something if someone's trying to make that connection with somebody that's a little bit compromised at the end of their life. They can't always vocalize what they want. And for us, this was like, we didn't expect that at first. And so we just thought, wow, this sounds crucial. We still want to go with that whole sort of general appeal idea, but wow, isn't it cool if it can actually help people dig through their past, and if it acts like a boost to cognitive thought and a fresh conversation for people, then that's amazing. It just keeps growing arms and legs and branches and stuff. So we're just thrilled with it, and we're just trying to keep up.
I can imagine, because I just saw, well, Jesslyn had posted, remember when you are irritated, like picture your children as they once were. And so I found a picture of my daughters. They're now 19 and 25. But when you look at them and they are, 6 months and 6 years, you do change your feeling, because at the time and recently, I mean, I think no matter what age your children are, they will have, I don't know, that the blessing, what is it? The gift to push our buttons. Or maybe it's releasing control of, like, right? We think, oh yeah, I'm sure they'll welcome my parenting wisdom or whatever. And then you realize, why can't someone just said that when they're like 9 and 13? Well, you're still in that in between, where when they're minors, you have a little bit more authority and influence, because they're, wow, mom and dad. And then they become older, they realize we are just human, or they realize our faults and then they call you on it. But if we had, like I had this one Mother's Day gift, and it was a crystal box with the engraving of both girls. And when I touched it, it said, Happy Mother's Day, Mom. What no longer works, because I think it was battery operated.
Right.
And I mean, we have video, but it's just nice to have something. And I would just periodically, again, it worked for probably over 10 years. And it was really sad. So similar, I mean, that's what your device would help, that you have that for generations to come.
Yeah.
Right. It's
Yeah.
it's a it's a cloud-based device, so it actually, whatever you want to store in there, whether that's like the recording, like you were talking
Mhm.
about, if you held up your phone, let's say, and pressed that while it was still working, you'd be able to capture things like that. And the idea is, since it's stored in the cloud, it's not going to get damaged due to flood or fire or theft, or it's not like a physical memory box. So even nothing's going to replace that sweater or that treasure chest full of goodies physically, but the idea is through memory, through Echobox, you can save those memories by capturing, like if it was one little thing, like if this pen happened to be a pen that I got somewhere that meant a lot to me, I could put a title to it, a description to it, a link to, let's say, if I bought it at a certain place, I could take a picture of it, a video recording of it, and an audio recording of it. So even though that's just this one object, you get like all of these different dimensions, descriptions about it. And so if that was, a family heirloom or that sort of thing,
Mhm.
if the proof is kind of in the pudding, if someone really wants to dive into their life and put all these sorts of things about favorite songs and recipes and movies and places they've been and work projects they've helped create or whatever it is, that's all there for people that want to revisit it. And so,
Well, even old photos though, that's what I'm realizing. Like I have old photos and people would have to look at Facebook and scroll to find the actual photo. But my mom, I think she was married in 1960. So we found black and white photos. We found her in a kimono. And then one of my dad's friends gave us a photo that I'd never seen taken in the 50s. So I thought, wow, if I don't make copies, and so you make copies, you give it to, my daughters, but what's going to happen between now and then when they are in their 40s and you think, where's that picture? And we've done that. My dad passed in 2016 and we still, where's that photo? And then I have to go and scroll because I don't have the actual photo. But with your device, you just upload it and then, you can just say, right, hey, just look it up on Echobox so I don't have to cram through like all these boxes or feel like, where did I put that? With
that
flash
that's
drives
right.
too, right? That's the latest thing. I put on a flash drive. And then you think the other day, my daughter's like, where's the flash drive? I gave it to you. Now, where is it? I don't know. And now I'm realizing this could be for, like I wrote a book. You know how many times I lost that book? I had 5 flash drives. I put it all over, but it's a very scary feeling to know that it's lost, and then you find it the next day. But if you put it on, because this could be like a book too, right? A PDF, or does it hold PDFs as well? Or
Well, it doesn't necessarily hold PDFs, but you can copy and paste basically, whatever the text might be into whatever category that it
oh
is that you want to put
wow.
that into. So same with links, so that in my Echo Box, like in hockey here or up in Canada here, we love our hockey. So some of my favorite sports heroes are in my sports category, or hockey players. And so, for example, I can go into that sort of thing and check out a link that I've put in there and some text that I've found from the back of like an old sports card or something like that. And so
Wow.
um, it can really, and it's open to the evolution too. I mean, you can, through the idea that you can host several Echo Boxes, people are kind of treating it differently. Like some people are doing some Echo Boxes in memoriam for family members that have already passed. They'll have kind of during a family event, they'll kind of collect all these ideas and put them all into one place, so that it's kind of as if that one person still exists, at least in the reflections of all those things that people remember about them. Another person was thinking about maybe making a different Echo Box for each year of their child's life, so that you
Oh
could have
yeah.
2021, 2022, 2023, and you can see how their different preferences evolve through time. And of course, as parents, that's just all goodies, especially when our kids are not far behind yours. I'd say like about 10 years behind.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And so, they're just getting into the age where, you go down the hallway and like the door's closed all the time now, and they're listening to their music now, and they're doing a lot of art. And so, we got to respect that. But at the same time, it's like, oh my goodness, that there's kind of like a chapter that's ended there. And all those little details that you can capture, for next year and following year and all that sort of stuff is just gold. And, down the road, vice versa, like we're none of us last forever. And
Mm-hmm.
so no matter what stages your relationship with your kids go through, at the end of it, the idea is if someone has invested a lot of time in their Echo Box, then they'll at least have that to speak for them when they're gone, and they know that whatever stuff they've left in there is available, even if their kids never go through it. It's just there. It's just there
Well,
in
that's what I
case they
like
want to.
about it. Yeah. And you know what? It's really because people are into decluttering now. And you have hundreds and hundreds of preschool artwork or old letters, and I can't throw them away. But my friend had to get rid of everything because she moved and she could only take 2 suitcases and a carry-on. And I thought, what would you throw out? But she just scanned everything. And then I'm
Right.
thinking with your Echo Box, you could, put it in there, and then aunts and uncles, and, because her son said, I don't need any of that. But of
Right.
course, I mean, when he's older and he's a dad or a grandfather, I mean, you're going to miss, I don't think they realize what a treasure it is. Like you said, it's gold. But when you're 13, 14, 19, you think, I don't really need that.
Sure. Oh yeah, right. I mean, it's easy for us. We've
Yeah.
been there, I guess. But when you're there, it's like, nah, they know. They don't know what they're talking about up there.
Oh, and it's trash. My daughter's like, why are you keeping this? And I said, because I know you were 4, but you said to the best mom ever. How am I supposed to throw this away?
Oh yeah, like really? Never. Oh my
Is there, how does
goodness.
it work? Do you have to, does it ever run out of storage or how, or it's just in the cloud? Because sometimes you know how the iCloud runs out and it says, your
Sure.
storage is running low.
Yeah, there is a limit to text. We haven't found it, and
Yeah,
I've
that's what I
told
was gonna
some.
say.
Yeah, and
We
I've
haven't
filled
reached
some.
that yet.
There's one category that's just like stories or memories and stuff, and so like it's in the writing book. We have a whole bunch. I think there's 17 different categories, and so in the writing book, I have some stories that I entered a whole bunch, and like I haven't hit the end where I can't save it yet. So if that's any comfort, I know that people can write a big long story, and this is just for very particular parts of their life too. So with enough of those stories, you can put an unlimited amount of links in there.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Although the media is limited to one picture, one audio recording, and one video recording per kind of story that you're doing. And I think in total, there's something like over 4,000 different stories you can do. So there's over 4,000 stories you can tell with a title, a description, a link, a photo, of audio, and a video recording. So it would take forever to do that, but I mean,
Is
it's
it
available.
only available on Apple devices, or I was just looking at, or is it open to, oh, is it only Apple?
Yeah, right now it's only available on Apple, but it's in development for Android. So we're hoping it'll be out sometime in early 2022.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were originally it was going to be in late 2021, but just as things as they are, it was just taking a little longer. So, but yeah, we will be available on both platforms, and that's going to basically double our, exposure and
Mhm.
our accessibility for everyone.
Yeah, and the devices will be able again to swap Echo boxes. You'd be able to swap from an Apple device to an Android.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
if
husband has
that,
both, and then I
Mhm.
have Android. I don't know why I've had it for so many years and I'm just resistant, but I have an iPad. So my iPad is like Clubhouse and, other things like FaceTime. But can you share the cost? I'm sure a lot of people are wondering what's the investment?
yeah, you know what? I wanted to break into that, but I was like, okay, well, now isn't really. That's kind of like not exactly what we're talking about, but
Because
just
everyone's thinking about it.
well, sure, right? And so even we're even refining how it works right now, so that there's even more bells and whistles at the free level. But just so that like the listeners and viewers understand how it works is the way it works now is you get onto Echobox, it's free to download, and there's a free handful of sections which include basic info, music, TV, movies, and food. So they can, at the free level, they can go in, they can put a title, a lengthy description, and any links they want to attach to their top five favorite. Like with food, there's 5 favorite meals, 5 favorite drinks, and 5 favorite snacks. So there's like 15 things within each category, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then at that point, if the users like how it works, there's a shop where you can add the ability to add media to those topics. You can also add other topics to your realm, or the most expensive thing we have, we've tried to keep it really cheap. The most expensive thing we have is a yearly subscription, which is in America, it's just $6.99 for a 1-year subscription.
Six
It
dollars
opens
and
up,
99 cents.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it opens
Wow,
up
that's
the
so
entire.
affordable.
Yeah, well, we're trying to just do it through, we want everyone on it. Like we want everyone who wants to be on it instead of, balk at the idea that it's
Yeah,
45
I pictured
bucks.
way, way, way more than that. That is,
Well, and some people are like, what are you thinking? It's got to be, it's got to cost more. And we're like, well, we got to wait until like we're making some sales because, first of all, we're trying to just do the right thing morally and build
Mhm,
like
mhm.
an ethos around it and not charge a lot of money. We're also just trying to build a community and if we're going to try to even dream about competing with the big boys that are out there, then we have to be accessible. But at the same time, we have to cover our bases. Like it did cost a lot of money to develop it, and we are a fraction of the, like, to focus on the idea of us being, all about money right now is just like the wrong place to be. Like we're doing so much better with talking with people, getting the word out there. And so I think we try to put our price point low enough that, that people would want to jump on it.
It's
So
the cost of a burger.
that's right. It's like the cost of one cheeseburger. And so in that year, you have that whole time to tell if you invest that time to tell your 4,000 plus stories. And then at the end of the year, it's not like it all goes away and you have to keep subscribing. It's just your access to add to it and to contribute to it anymore just kind of it goes behind glass sort of thing. So if I'm on Echobox and you're on Echobox, and we invite each other to see each other's realm or our Echobox. At the free level, we can check each other's stuff out. If you get the subscription, I'll get a notification saying, hey, you know what, Karen's got that subscription. And then I'll know, oh my goodness, she's probably, adding a whole bunch of stuff there, but I can't comment on your stuff. I can't, say I like stuff. It's just a look, but don't touch. And at the end of your year subscription, nothing changes. I can still see all of that stuff that you've thrown on there. It's just that you for now have decided that, cool, I like my Echobox the way it is. I don't want to keep spending money on it. Or we also have to entertain the idea that some of our users are going to pass away. And so that's almost like an automatic shut off, but their loved ones can still access that material. So there's no public access, but the network you build through your contacts will always have that, treasure chest of things to go through.
And it's not you don't have to renew your subscription?
Nope.
Only if you want to add to it some more when the year is up. So yeah, it'll freeze what you've written already. I think you can still add some stuff to the free realms, but the all of the stuff that was included in the subscription is sort of frozen and, like Tim said, under glass there. So you can still look at it, but you just can't add to it.
And down the road, if you want to open it again, like if a couple of years goes by and you're like, you know what, I want to update it, you can always subscribe another $6.99 or whatever and kind of put your new favorite songs or whatever it is in it. But that's kind of like, that's how it works. It is kind of complicated, but we've tried to simplify it as much as we can so that there's basically no public access. You only can share what you've with people that you've kind of approved, and once approved, unless those people decide to delete you from their list, because that's possible too, then you'll always have each other's realms to reminisce. One of us will go before the other one sort of idea. And so whether that's a mother and a child or whether that's friends, that's how it works in a nutshell.
So it would be good to add like younger people or like your children, so that in case, right, you pass, then at least someone is able to access it.
Yeah,
for sure. Unless you want to kind of write down your path. I mean, people could build one and keep it a secret and then be a little risky and write their password and all that stuff down somewhere physical and leave it behind. But that's not really how we designed it. Yeah, it was more like just comfortably share with people that you love, and that you're not going to be advertised to, or your information isn't going to be farmed off to people because since you've been looking at flights to Peru, all of a sudden you get all these advertisements of like hotspots in Peru, and you're like, wait a minute, so we've tried to cut out all the garbage that's keeping people like Mark Zuckerberg in court for a good portion of his time. We're trying to do the right thing, and it's going to take a little while, but thanks to people like yourself who are willing to give us the time and the interest and the encouragement, it's really been all about grassroots. And so
so is it available? Have you been like statewide, or like you said UK, are you globally sharing or being on how are you doing it? Public relations, definitely grassroots, but is it available like all over? I mean, or how are you getting the word out? It is available if they download the app, right?
Yeah, it's available through the App Store too, and we're available to 176 countries right now. But yeah, it's just, it's typically just
shocking.
Lots of
that is insane.
Right?
And when did it launch? When was your when
it
did it start?
we launched in July
July?
of 2020, and so it was kind of like right in the middle of, I
Oh,
think,
right in the
the
middle of the
second
pandemic.
wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, it was kind of a quietly launched between us, and our friends and family knew about it, and then and yeah, it just kind of was through this crazy ride and response from different members of different sectors of the health world. And I think the first sector was death doulas, and then after that it was rec
Rec
therapists, and
therapists.
after that it was dementia specialists and early
Have you reached
onset
out to like
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's Association
Yeah,
and different,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
here in Canada, there recently there's been a whole bunch of attention and thrown towards the oral traditions and the histories of Indigenous groups, and keeping that
mm,
the traditions alive of medicine, or just oral history, there, all that sort of stuff. And recently someone said, oh yeah, your app really bridges the gap between technology and the Indigenous cultures and their ability to hand down oral traditions. We were just like, oh my goodness, awesome, like
Right.
yes it can, like
and you
we're
never
gonna.
even realized what you guys have started, because that's the thing. I remember as an educator, like some of these languages, and Hawaiian is one of them, where if we don't continue, no one will
Sure.
be left to carry on. It's like cursive
Right.
writing. Cursive writing is pretty extinct, and it's so sad. It used to be taught in fourth grade, so I always tell kids, what if someone left you like $1 million but it was in a cursive letter? What would you do? They can't even sign their passport. So sometimes I get
Yeah.
hired just to teach them how to sign their name. But if you had that in your echo box, just like little things, like you said, stories, or I never thought of that, family recipes. I mean,
For sure. All those little things that kind of seem, a small little detail now, it might get lost. And then one day, I mean, imagine the contrast if 10 years, 20 years down the road, you can make that bowl of soup, or you can make that cake and be like, this is it. I can taste in it again, thanks, mom.
yeah,
Or
my grandmother, no one knows her recipe for sweetbread. And my dad and my parents lost their home 4 months after they got married. So all photos, I mean, they just had the clothes off their back. So my dad always, repaid Salvation Army, or American Red Cross. So he always every year gave back, because, I just thought, can you imagine 4 months after you get married, you lose like everything?
Hmm,
So that's
my
another thing,
goodness.
though. It's not just preserving memories because of future generations, but if something happened, like with robberies, right? Sometimes, I mean, things can be stolen that don't mean anything to the person who robbed you, but mean the world to you.
For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. And it continues to suppress. There was a person that were talking to in Ontario, and she worked in a cancer ward, and she was talking about how one mother of a few young children was terminally ill, and she was trying to she felt really bad about how her life kind of ended up. She went through some, a couple of rough patches. Um, and she was having trouble kind of capsulating her life, in different ways to leave behind for her kids. And I guess thankfully her sister dropped by and said, oh, you've done all sorts of amazing stuff. And they put this huge collage together of, places where she's been, and things that she loved. And it was really like therapeutic to her. And so I think it kind of helped her in a certain sort of way, that we were just kind of like, oh my goodness, if this can do something like that for people. And that's what this healthcare worker saw in Echobox, was just like, no, to me, that's what comes to mind, is it's a place for somebody to be able to put these things, whether it's, under a time restraint or not, sort of deal, whether it's, you going through your life and just putting in, or it being a little more like in the situation of someone that's in palliative care or in dementia care, and it's a little more time involved. It just continues to evolve, and we're just waiting to see what it kind of does next. We call it Herbie the Love Bug, because at some point it just woke up and it took control, and so we're just kind of like flying around and trying to keep up with it as best we can.
Yeah, I'm just like flabbergasted, because you just think of all the different types of things that, especially during COVID, some of my friends have lost family members, and it happened so fast. that if
Right.
you had recordings, one of my really good friends had COVID pneumonia, and all you can see is his videos that he posted, with his, right, being hooked up to tubes and everything. But if he, all of us, that's what we look for, right? And then if you had something like the Echo Box, you can always go in there, because if you don't have anything to save to, so I think that the daughter would go in and say, I just want to let you know, and it's an update. But I just can't imagine having like an Echo Box. You already have something, and you have people, right, able
Absolutely.
to. Wow, thank you so
Yeah.
much. Well, I'm gonna yeah, you know what? I was looking at it on my Android, no wonder. And I think I saw that it was supposed to be an Apple thing, and it's like it's been so hectic. I thought I knew your interview was coming up. I'm so sorry I had to reschedule, but this is something that you guys have to I mean, and I know Destin has shared it. I will share it. I think everyone, you have a global product, it's not just, oh, it's good for ages, this and this. I mean, it is, whether you start a family, whether you're right, it's not to a specific target market. I mean, you
It,
are
it,
needed
it, it
no matter
truly
what.
has, like, it's kind of astounding because we're not techie people. We don't have a handful, like we maybe have a handful of apps on our phone, and we're not business savvy. We're just kind of flying at this because the idea has pulled us into the situation. And we had a local news story go national in Canada. And then not long after that, the BBC picked us up in the UK. And so a story came out of the UK. And so we had international news, and we were in 176 countries. But it was just like, this is our pilot project. Like we wanted to, we can't look a gift horse in the mouth, but we didn't think that it would be this exposed this fast. And so we kind of just feel like we do everything we can to get out there and get the word out there. And so thank you
Thank
to people
you.
like yourself that
Thank you.
helping us.
My
Thank
final
you.
question, who thought of the idea?
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
I
just
did,
Tim's the
but
brains behind it.
just like woke
but
up
I
one
mean,
day and said, "Hey."
well, it was a process. At first it was just an idea that sat on the back of the shelf after we got inspired by it, because we were both busy in our own like lives doing our own things. And then I was afforded a little bit of time. I started doing some art at home with some kids, with some kids, with our kids. Some kids joined in, but yeah, and so all of a sudden I had a little more time on my hands, and that's when it kind of became a little more of a serious idea. And our friend Clark, I think we mentioned him before, came by and asked about what was going on recently, and he got really excited about that idea and blew a lot of wind into it, the sales. And so all of a sudden I was talking to developers, and
Wow.
it was crazy, but hey, it's real, so we have
And
to
it's
roll with it.
proof, I mean, that all you need is an idea, and just to like grow, just go with it, because sometimes self-doubt, right? Oh, it's too hard, or how much it's going to cost, and maybe one day. But I really just want to congratulate you on just, it's just phenomenal. I'm so glad that Desmond told me about it. I think some people look at it and you don't really, unless you like click on your Instagram or someone tells you about it, you're not really sure. It's like echo, like memory. That's what my forte is. Like, I'm passionate about the brain, about memory. But when you just hear those words, I knew that as Memory Vault. I was talking to Desmond about it. And she goes, you have to, especially when you have Alzheimer's in your family, that's the first thing that you think of. But then I thought, wow, when you mentioned recipes, you mentioned, just everything, like links alone. Can you imagine? Just, I mean, yeah, I know you can imagine it because you're doing it,
but,
but
but for
Yeah,
sure,
no,
and it's awesome to kind of see the gears turn in other people's imaginations, because like we said, I mean, it's going to continue to evolve, and it'll just be a pleasure to see what appeals to
yeah,
people
and
about
what
it.
people do with it,
I,
right?
I think
Yeah.
schools should know about it though, because this is just amazing. If you go into schools and then they put things in for Mother's Day, and then it's like not just for mother, but grandmother, and just multi-generational. Because usually you get that one thing, and then throughout the decades, it gets lost, you know?
Right. Right. That's a great idea. Absolutely. Yep. Through the years and through their school years and all the little projects that you try to keep in the, on the
Well,
shelf,
and
on
you
the
threw,
wall.
do you remember, I don't know if you remember the Britannica encyclopedias. My dad had the whole set. We were about to throw it away, and I don't know what made my husband open it. And it was a letter. I mean, it was a school assignment from when I was in third grade, talking about like the best dad ever.
Oh my
And I was
goodness.
8. And then we opened another page and it was like a $20 bill. It was just really weird. He had like, D for dollar or something. And then I don't know what it was. I think he had his own little system. He had an Echobox in the encyclopedia.
Cool.
But if we had thrown it away,
Right. Oh my goodness.
so that's the thing. So thank you so much. Keep going and let me know if there's any any specials or any, like if you have launch anything, or maybe I mean, I think, yeah, we have to just make this go global, because I think a lot of people need it. And like you said, I'm sure a lot of people are going to think of new ways to utilize it, because I mean, who does not want to? It's leaving a legacy. I have a my 100 parenting tips inspired by the pandemic, and I'm thinking leaving a legacy. It's the Echobox. It's not just, at the time I thought, values and just stories and things, but an Echobox, that is your legacy.
Well, in a lot of ways,
I
that
think-
we're hoping that it can be adopted in that sort of, with that sentiment. So we'll the proof will be in the pudding. We'll see. We'll see how the
Yeah,
response
I'm
goes.
excited to see where it goes, and I will download it on my iPad. I'm still trying to figure it out. Sometimes, like, I'm not really familiar, so I always tell my daughter, "Hey, can you?" The other day, I couldn't get rid of a thing, and I swiped up, to the left, to the right. She goes, "Mom, you just have to." I guess I didn't swipe the right. I'm like, so I will download it, and I'm excited. Thank you so much, and I'll let you know when I'll send you the recording so you folks can have it, and I will let you know. I think it's in November. I do these interviews in advance, because every Tuesday I share like the guest of my Letting Go with Aloha interview series, and I was so excited that you guys were open to being interviewed. So thank you so much.
Well,
Oh my
thank you so
goodness.
much.
It's an honor to be on. And so, if you want us to, if you want us back, we'll be back. We just love this sort of thing.
Yeah,
So,
you know what? 2022, when it's ready for Android, because I'm sure there's going to be new right, additions or modifications, or with your product, it's always going to have, I'm sure, how you have the updated version. You're going to have
yeah,
like multiple like things that happen.
yeah, that's a good point. Our updated version, the free zone, will actually allow the users to add recordings for those select topics. So at least we're offering all the bells and whistles at the free
At the
level.
very
So then we're really trying to spread it as much as we can. So
I
so
love
yeah.
it. Thank you, and I will keep in touch.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Take care of
Thanks.
yourself.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Aloha.
Bye.
Bye.